Well, hello and Merry Christmas. This is the holiday season, and you may be in just an amazing mood, taking it all in and having great fun. Or you could be one of the masses who is stressed out and wondering, how am I going to get through this season? It's amazing to me that we know the holidays are coming year after year if we're fortunate enough to still be alive. And yet, for so many of us, it just seems like it takes us by surprise and we're still caught unprepared. So I want to share with you some tips that will make this holiday season, whatever holiday it is you celebrate, the most amazing season ever for you, okay? So if you're taking notes, here goes. First thing is you want to know what your vision is for this season. Are you hosting guests? Are you going to be going to someone else's home? What do you want out of this holiday period? What do you want it to feel like? What do you want it to smell like? What do you want it to taste like? What do you want it to sound like? Identify your vision for the holiday season. Now, once you've done that and you've got a clear sense of what it is you want, here is a really important question you must ask yourself and, of course, answer honestly. What is your purpose for that vision? Sometimes, especially women, we get all stressed out about having our homes decorated perfectly and everything in place and every dish just like it is in the magazines. But you know what? What is your real purpose? Is it to show off your culinary skills? Is it to show how you are the hostess with the mostest? Is it to have an atmosphere of fun and joy and peace and love? Is it to just gather people around and to love on them? So whatever your purpose is for this season should drive your vision. So you may need to go back to step one and say, okay, wait a second. Was that really realistic? Is that what really matters to me? If your turkey and ham come out exactly perfectly, and yet people around you are grouchy and not in a good mood because you're so stressed out and haven't had sleep in weeks, is that the kind of holiday season that you envision for yourself? So first is to identify what your vision is for this holiday season. Second is to know your why. What is your real purpose for this? Because that purpose would drive everything else that you do. Now, third is to create a plan. Do you know what that menu is? Have you identified your sleeping arrangements? Have you checked in with people? Make sure you don't have any cousins who suddenly become vegetarians, or, someone who's allergic to seafood and you've planned out a whole seafood buffet for your holiday meal. So make sure that you have plans in place, okay? Write the plans out. And here's my favorite. Delegate. Don't do it all alone. This is something that I tell people all the time, especially people who are coming into my home. I tell them, you know what, I want us to have a great time, but I do have one rule. You cannot create work for me. In other words, this has to be fun and loving and enjoyable for all of us. Okay? So that brings me to my next step. So I told you to plan and make sure you delegate some of those plans so you're not carrying this whole load by yourself. But the other piece is to set your boundaries and to communicate those boundaries to people. I mean, how many times have you gotten together with family, friends, loved ones, and the next thing, something happens and you're seething on the inside. You can't wait for them to leave your home, or you can't wait to leave their home. And so certainly if you're the hostess, set your boundaries. If there's a particular family member who has certain tendencies, maybe you need to talk to them ahead of time. Maybe you need to identify who will be the buffer. Maybe you need to figure out, if you need to keep your kids away from a certain individual or limit the alcohol, that's available, whatever it takes. But know your boundaries and set them, communicate those boundaries so you can have a great holiday season and other people around you can too, because they know your expectations. And then, of course, commit to having fun. What is this season about for you? In my home, this is about celebrating the birth of Christ. And if Christ wasn't born, Christ couldn't die. And if Christ didn't die, I wouldn't get to go to heaven when I'm done with my time on earth. So this is a very important season for my family. And you know what? I want to have fun because Jesus came that I will have an abundant life. He came that I'm not always crying and having a pity party and all of that kind of stuff and having drama all around me. He wanted me to have fun and to enjoy life. And so commit to having fun this season. And of course, remember this. What is the reason for the season? Whatever it is that you celebrate, go back to your roots and realize that that is really what the focus should be on. And so even if all you have is some canned, meat and some dry bread and water to share, do it in joy, do it in peace, do it in love. Merry Christmas, and I wish you all a Happy New Year.